Let's begin maybe with transition challenges from previous HCM platforms to Workday, or not, sometimes we go right into the specifics, but maybe more broadly, thinking about change and changing technology and changing platforms and lessons learned, regardless of Workday.
I'd say focus on, simple things. What can you get users to do, and get your stakeholders to agree of how you want to measure adoption, so that you're not getting pushed to, once, have your people working 24/7 to build training that then no one is going to use. And oh, by the way, when it comes time to enhance the system, you might have to go back and update all that training that nobody used anyway, right? So you're doing a bunch of work for no benefit.
I'm appreciating this idea of simplicity. Anybody could come up with something complicated. Anybody could come up with something that's overwrought. But this idea of simplicity in what we do is such an attractive notion, because it also then it dictates as a first principle, right? Almost a guiding principle, Anton. I love that. And
yeah,
and hearing loud and clear on measuring adoption too. So.
If you treat it simply, the perception will be this is a simple and easy system to use.
I wanted to build, Anton, a point that you made. In my experience at a previous employer, we used Workday, and we completely customized and Frankensteined it. And what was interesting was people absolutely hated performance management. No surprise, right? But they attributed it that dislike to Workday. So getting in there and understanding, it wasn't Workday that people didn't like. It was the process they didn't like. So you almost have to break apart the two, because the process is the process and the technology is the technology, and people will blend the two. So before you make a change, make sure you're making the right change. Is it really the process, or is it really the technology?
It's so absolutely critical that who's ever first announcing that or introducing it, that they really explain what's in it for that end user. And it has to be something that makes them say, wow. So change just appears very scary, I think, to folks that I've worked with in some of the larger rollouts, and they immediately seize up. And if the very first impression is, wow, I get it. I see where this is going to help myself, my team, and really, I think it's also really important to people that it will help the whole organization in some specific way. So I was just, thinking about that Clippy. I think people just kind of looked at it, couldn't quite see it, and I think to some extent, some people are looking at AI, they're trying different things with it, and they're saying, well, I don't quite get how this really helps me out. I'm actually kind of afraid of it. And so I just think the word wow is like this really important element. And then the other thing about simplification, I was just loving those points. I couldn't agree more.
One of the things I noticed even about Workday is that it is an HR system. And I guess to the audience, because it is an HR system, is that a problem in terms of adoption across the enterprise? Are your IT, your technical workforce, are they really engaged in it? Your managers, your senior level executives, are they really engaged in it? Do they feel good about it because it is an HR system?
That's an important piece. I think we have built like a champion network within the business, folks that were not too senior level, like the manager, director level, and having champions from all different parts of the business involved to help as part of the design team and helping to take some of the bigger philosophical decisions that were being made by HR senior leadership or by the steering committee that was working through it, and actually putting it into practice and being part of the, how is this going to flow, and what does that overall experience look like? But then the other part of that is you get to help influence the design, but then we also need you to help sell it back to the business that this is something that we work on arm in arm with each other to help build out. That champion network proves to be invaluable.